Lord of the Rings. Charlie Vickers I've interviewed a lot. So
Nice.
Lord Sauron. Season 1, he's a hero. Season 2, he's a hidden villain. What was the process of arcing him for the first 2 seasons? His journey, and then
Yeah, I had to lay the groundwork for that. The first thing I said when I got hired on Rings of Power, and we were going to look at the first episode, and I said, "What's the deal with the stranger? What's the deal with Sauron?" And everybody went ice cold. They looked around like, and I said, "Look, guys, I got to tell you, I understand NDAs. I understand security. I understand that there's only a few people on this show that you are safe to tell all of this to. Not even all the actors know, execs don't know, but I promise you, I have to be one of those people that you can trust with this, because the stuff I'm going to write for you right now in episode 1 has to pay off later." And they were like, I was basically like, take a deep breath and just tell me everything, you know? So that was groundwork that was laid. If you listen to the first single we ever put out, it's called Sauron. If you take that theme and play it backwards, you get Halbrand's theme. If you play it backwards, you get Halbrand's theme. If you play Halbrand's theme backwards, you get Sauron's theme. So in a very simple, coded way, I'm already kind of telling you that. And that was in the first episode. So coming into season 3, it's great to be able to drop all that pretense. You know what I mean? And Charlie gave such a fantastic performance. He is so menacing. It's almost impossible for me to remember it's even the same actor who played Halbrand, who was so inviting and vulnerable. So it's been great to take that same thematic material and now just empower it and supercharge it.
Our last question. I was struck by the scene when Mordor exists. Like when the Mordor and Galadriel has the smoke ash go over in your score. What was the process of you when scoring that scene? Because her expression, Morford Clark's expression, but you're setting up the world, that whole sequence, which I thought was one of the best in the series.
You got to remember, at the end of episode 6, that's the biggest episode we had done to date. It was the first episode that was predominantly a big battle scene. I felt like Morpeth. She just sees the thing explode, and she's just like, okay. It's like Matt Damon at the end of The Departed, just like, okay. Because I was just like, I am so out of steam, and I still have 2 more episodes to write after this. Just, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to write this. That's when I knew I would be able to survive Rings of Power, right? Because I thought, if I can do this, man, I can do anything. And I felt that way again at the 7th episode of the 2nd season, the Eregion battle, where I was just like, oh my God, you guys. But it's inspiring because the show is paced so well, and there's so many exciting moments that I feel like it pulls the best ideas out of me.
And you had the great moment where Sauron and Galadriel face off,
Incredible.
which I thought musically in that whole sequence was one of my favorites. How was that for you?
The show has laid so many great foundational pieces, and really what I love the most about season 3 is that we are now reaping the benefits of that. It is so exciting to watch these characters face off now with 2 seasons of connection. It's really, really cool.
Devil's Mouth and Bear McCreary. One of the things I like about his composing is the location is a character, the protagonist is a character, the villain's a character. For Devil's Mouth, how did you approach making sure it wasn't just a shark movie? For everybody the world also had its own distinct sound and music.
Yeah, for the Devil's Mouth, one of the first things I talked about with Bear was that we wanted the location and the caves themselves to have their own theme, because you wanted to really feel that our characters had gone someplace special, and we needed to both portray the sort of the wonder and the beauty of Thailand and the cave system, but then it had to slowly sort of transition into something more foreboding and something more dangerous, and we needed to do both. And instead of focusing on the shark, that's really what became the focus of the music for Bear and for me, and I thought that was so smart of him to land on that instead of making more of a meal, pardon the pun, out of the shark.
We have a lot of music students in the audience, film composer students in the audience. What traits that Bear McCreary has as a collaborator with you would you recommend music students to kind of pursue in composers, when they collaborate with a director?
I mean, Bear, for me, one of the reasons why I keep coming back to Bear, and it's my 3rd film with Bear, is that he is a storyteller above all else. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a really supremely talented musician, but I never feel like I am talking to a musician when I'm talking to Bear. I feel like I'm talking to a storyteller. And what he does is he then takes those story points and he figures out how to support them musically. And that literally is his job. So I don't have to talk to him about music. I talk to him about story.
And my last directing question, was your cast upset when you decided you wanted to go with real sharks? No CGI, no animatronics. Were they bothered by it? Did you get some flack with SAG?
Listen, I had to replace a few of them because, things happen.
Sharks eat.
No, we didn't have any real sharks. No actors were hurt in the making of our film. But I tell you what, they did a lot of their own stunts. They learned how to do breath holds.
Yeah.
They learned how to scuba dive. We were kayaking in the mountains of Thailand, just going up to mouths of caves. I mean, they were down for the adventure, and they worked really, really hard, and they did some difficult stuff, but no real sharks were used.
Bear McCreary and Singularity, what was it about this album that drew you and made you want to collaborate?
Well, in a nutshell, Bear's music. On the first Singularity record, which came out in 2024, and we started working on this. Bear sent me, pre-pandemic, sent me a whole bunch of songs, and they were all really interesting, very challenging, very engaging from a musical standpoint, from a playing standpoint, from a listening standpoint. He had some really great songs, and that was one thing. Bear was definitely known as a composer and a video game, composer, as well as movie scores and things like that. But not a lot of people probably knew what a talented metal composer he was as well. And so I was like, Bear, you've got some kick-ass metal songs here that are really cool. And he's like, yeah, excellent. I have no idea. You're my barometer on this. I'm just writing songs. And so they were so interesting that is what really, brought me into wanting to play all the drums on the Singularity.
We have a lot of music students in the audience. Your working process with Bear, what do you recommend for our students to follow? The way you guys work together, the way you collaborate, something that would be a lesson for student musicians to follow?
Well, I would imagine, I would say definitely have enough of yourself ready to go. If your collaborator says, hey, show me what you got, then, be able to, have column A, B, C, D taken care of. But also, be large enough, I guess, to go to realize that, hey, I tried all the things. Here's all my thoughts. And if the collaborator says, you know what, those are great, but let's stick with what I got, just be ready for that. You can zig and zag in either direction, whether it be fully you or if it's going to be fully the composer or that collaborative effort between. You want to be able to be easygoing enough that you can manage whichever way the project needs to go to serve the songs the best.
Singularity.
Yes.
What was it about this project that most interested you, and it was also kind of a different genre for you, let's say?
It's interesting because whenever I work with Bear, it's always world building. The way he approaches producing is creating a world. It's like it's soundscape, it's thematic development, it's lush orchestra, it's all these kinds of things, and that works really well for someone with a voice like mine because I'm not going to bring the hard rock because that's just not where I come from. So I get to add the narrative quality of lyrics. I get to add, a certain vocal presence that I feel grounds it in a way that works for me and holds hands with the development that he brings musically.
Now, we have a lot of students in the audience, musicians who want to be musicians one day. Question, what is it about working and collaborating with Bear would you recommend as a good trait to have or a process, something you would say, students, you should emulate this because this is a good process or a thing to have?
I would say when you enter the place where you're going to start recording or composing, have an idea where you want to go, but be open to letting the music lead you. Think, okay, I have the map. I pretty much know what I want, but, ask the music where it wants to go, because sometimes you're not going to end up in the place that you meant to be. Yeah, so I'd say open-mindedness. Yeah.
And one last question. A few years ago, Outlander.
Yeah.
You sung here at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
What was that experience like in Hall H in front of 1 million people?
It was so fun. fun. It was really, really, really fun. And then after that, Sam Hewen gave me some whiskey, so then I was drunk. So it was like great. It was just like it was such a high. It was so beautiful, really, because I love the Outlander fandom so much. They're so kind and enthusiastic and loving. So that might have been my favorite Comic-Con ever. And I've been doing this for like 20 years. That might have been the best one.